What if I told you that the America's favorite sitcom kid wasn't just hiding behind laugh tracks and dad jokes, but also a list of secret lovers so scandalous it could burn Hollywood down? Yes, Malcolm Jamal Warner, the same Theo Huxtable you grew up watching, allegedly left behind a jaw-dropping confession the day before his death. A confession not about fame, not about fortune, but about 5 lovers he swore he would never forgive. Why? Betrayal, lies, something darker. Buckle up, because this isn't just gossip. It's the kind of tea that makes tabloids look tame. If I told you that just 24 hours before his sudden and mysterious death, Malcolm Jamal Warner, the same man millions adored as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, left behind a confession so raw, so scandalous, that it's shaking Hollywood to its core, we're not talking about a diary entry or a casual note scribbled on hotel stationery. No, we're talking about a deliberate, carefully worded list of 5 names. 5 women that Malcolm himself swore he could never forgive, no matter how much time had passed, no matter what apologies were made. And this list wasn't just personal, it was explosive. It carried the kind of secrets that could rewrite how fans remember him and how the entertainment industry views one of its most iconic stars. For decades, Malcolm carried an image of being clean, responsible, and private. While scandals surrounded his co-stars and mentors, he somehow stayed above the chaos. Or at least, that's what the world believed. But behind the scenes, Malcolm was wrestling with heartbreak, betrayal, and bitterness that never healed. The day before his death, he decided to make sure his truth wouldn't stay buried with him. So what exactly did this shocking revelation contain? According to insiders close to the actor, Malcolm had spent years in quiet relationships, secret romances that never made it to the tabloids. Some were short-lived flings, others long, complicated entanglements. But each one ended in pain. And for 5 specific women, the betrayal cut so deep that Malcolm couldn't let go, even at the end of his life. The first part of the story that stuns people is how deliberate Malcolm was about documenting his feelings. Sources claim he didn't just write names. He explained, briefly but clearly, why he would never forgive each of these women. It wasn't a rant. It wasn't emotional scribbles. It was structured, almost like a legal statement. He wanted clarity. He wanted to leave no room for misunderstanding. And perhaps most chilling of all, he wanted the world to know. Now, fans are asking the same question. Why would Malcolm choose to reveal this the day before his death? Was it a coincidence, or did he know something was about to happen? Some believe he may have felt his time was running out. Others suggest he wanted control of his story before someone else twisted it. Whatever the reason, this confession has now opened the door to a storm of speculation, betrayal, and mystery. And the burning curiosity is this: who exactly were these 5 women? Were they actresses we all recognize? Were they women from his private life, hidden away from cameras? Or were they connected to the entertainment industry in ways that could cause a ripple effect of scandal? One thing is certain: Malcolm Jamal Warner's legacy will never be the same after this revelation. And that's where we dive deeper, because in this video, we'll break down who these women were rumored to be, and why Malcolm's words toward them carried so much weight. As the hours ticked by on that final day, Malcolm Jamal Warner's mind seemed consumed by a strange blend of regret, anger, and a yearning for closure. He wasn't speaking to a crowd, nor was he leaving behind a public statement meant to be polished and safe. Instead, he was raw, unfiltered, and brutally honest, something fans had rarely seen from the man who grew up in the spotlight as Theo Huxtable. One of the most surprising names on his list was a woman connected to the entertainment world, but not directly part of his Hollywood circle. Sources claim she was a writer who had helped him on a project years back, someone he once considered a confidant. Yet, according to his words, she had sold him out for clout, leaking personal details of his private struggles to tabloids in exchange for quick cash. That betrayal, he admitted, left scars deeper than most realized, because it taught him that trust, once broken, never truly heals. But the list didn't stop there. The second name he revealed shook even those closest to him. Allegedly, it was someone who had once been a romantic partner during the height of his fame, an actress from another iconic sitcom of the 90s. He didn't accuse her of infidelity or abuse. Instead, his words pointed to something even more cutting: abandonment. When I needed her most, he said, she was nowhere to be found. This wasn't about petty arguments. It was about a man who had given his heart only to be left in silence when the cameras stopped rolling and the applause faded. By the time he reached the third name, the energy in the room shifted. Malcolm wasn't just listing lovers, he was unburdening years of hidden weight. The third woman, according to his account, had been someone the public never even knew about, a private relationship he had fought to keep out of the media. He described her as the one who taught me the difference between love and possession. While their time together was passionate, it ended in what he called emotional warfare, with manipulation and jealousy leaving him bitter. He admitted, almost painfully, that she had influenced his view of love for years to come, making it harder for him to fully trust again. Each name wasn't just a person, it was a chapter of his life. And as he spoke, it became clear that this was less about shaming them and more about freeing himself. He had carried these wounds in silence, smiling on red carpets, performing on stage, and delivering interviews that painted him as the forever optimistic TV star. But behind closed doors, he was haunted by the memories of love turned sour. The shocking part, he admitted he had once considered writing a tell-all book but decided against it, fearing it would tarnish too many reputations. Yet here he was, on the eve of his passing, speaking with a sense of urgency as though time had finally run out for secrets. And just when those listening thought the revelations couldn't get any more shocking, he hinted that the final two names on his list were the ones no one would ever expect. As Warner's story unraveled in those final 24 hours, one thing became absolutely clear: this wasn't just about past heartbreaks or old grudges. This was about a man reflecting on his entire journey, from the kid America adored as Theo Huxtable to a grown man who carried scars no one could see. The names on his list weren't random, and neither were the emotions tied to them. Each woman represented a turning point in his life, a moment where love clashed with betrayal, and forgiveness became impossible. The fourth woman on his list was said to be someone deeply connected to Hollywood, a rising star during the 90s who Warner reportedly dated in secret. Their romance was never public because, at the time, Warner was still trying to keep his private life away from the spotlight. But behind closed doors, it was explosive. According to sources, she had ambitions that went far beyond their relationship, and in the end, she used Warner's fame as a stepping stone. To him, that betrayal cut deeper than cheating. It was the feeling of being used, of realizing that love had been nothing more than a calculated move in someone else's career. And so, he swore he would never forgive her. The fifth and final name stunned those closest to Warner. It wasn't a famous actress, singer, or celebrity. It was someone completely unexpected. A woman from his past before the fame. Someone who knew him as Malcolm, not Theo. This revelation struck like lightning. Imagine carrying that kind of hurt for decades from someone who once represented home. The betrayal had happened long before Hollywood, long before the money and fame. And yet, it was strong enough to haunt him even on the day before his death. Friends said this was the wound that never healed, the one that shaped how he loved and trusted for the rest of his life. By the time Warner finished writing his thoughts, he wasn't lashing out in anger. Instead, it was more like a releaser way of putting the truth down so he wouldn't carry it into the afterlife. He wanted the world to understand that even the brightest stars carry shadows, that love and betrayal don't discriminate between the famous and the ordinary. His honesty shocked people, but it also made him more human than ever before. The ripple effects of his confession were immediate. Fans started revisiting his past interviews, rewatching old episodes of The Cosby Show with a new lens, trying to spot the hidden pain behind his smile. Friends and colleagues quietly debated the ethics of exposing such personal truths, while others praised him for finally taking control of his own narrative. Whatever side people took, one thing was undeniable. Warner had left behind more than just his legacy. As an actor, he left behind a story of resilience, heartbreak, and the courage to speak his truth when it mattered most. In the end, the list of 5 women wasn't just about unforgiveness, it was about closure. Warner knew his time was limited, and instead of leaving the world with silence, he chose to leave it with raw honesty. His words remind us that even those who seem untouchable face the same battles we do. Love that goes wrong, promises broken, and scars that never fade. And perhaps that's why his story resonates so deeply. Because at the heart of it, Jamal Warner wasn't just a celebrity with secrets, he was a man searching for peace in his final hours. And with his last confession, he made sure the world would never forget the cost of love, betrayal, and the people we can never bring ourselves to forgive. And that's the bombshell, fam. The day before his death, Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just leave behind memories, he left behind confessions that are shaking Hollywood to its core. Now I gotta ask you, whose side are you on? Do you think these secret lovers were the reason he was never at peace? Or is there even more dirt hiding in the shadows? Make sure you hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want me to dig even deeper into the scandals the world doesn't want you to know, then you already know what to do. Subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and stay locked in, because the next reveal, it's even crazier than this one. This is your dose of truth uncensored, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.